Rev up your engines for the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast with Big E. Proudly sponsored by Christensen Law, where bikers helping engine bikers is more than just a motto. It's our commitment to the biker community. Be sure to tune in and listen to the latest news and biker buzz. And for all your personal injury needs, be sure to contact the Christensen Law team at 248-900-9000. What's up, bikers? It's Big E, and you're listening to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast. We're talking all things bikes, the freedom of the road, and the brotherhood that makes this lifestyle what it is. From killer tips to wild stories from the highway, we've got it all right here. Life is short, bikers, so let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. And so we're in a new studio. We moved, and we're going to talk to someone else who just moved. We're going to talk to Lee from Red Barn Cyclez.
And my wife Lori, she's here with us too.
And his wife Lori. So what's going on, guys? You guys all moved in and getting settled, or?
We are moved in. We are mostly settled, but as with anything, everything changes every day. So every time, we think we have everything set up, we're still updating as we're doing today.
Nice. I can relate. So why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory, the origin of Red Barn Cyclez?
Well, it was started overnight. I worked for another shop. We decided to part ways. And then within a month or so, I guess I started, figured we'd start slow, built a shop out of the garage, worked out of that for 2 years. And then where the name comes from is Red Barn Cyclez is on our property. We have 5 big red barns. So we took one of those red barns, completely gutted it, rebuilt it, and we worked out of there for a year and a half, and then just moved into our new shop. It's no more Red Barn, but we're still holding the name down. So.
Right. So, all right. What was the first bike that you worked on professionally in the new shop? When you started?
This shop, I'm trying to remember which one was it.
Well, technically, it was DJ's bike.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so we weren't even open yet, and one of our customers comes in. He needed ECM flash. Redid the taillights on his bike, so it was a 2021 Street Glide. That was the first bike we've done in this shop.
And what about in the barn? Can you remember?
In the barn, it was the custom trike. Was one of our very first. One of our very first bikes that we did. If you look back through our Facebook page, it's red and white and checkered, like a checkered flag picture of a trike sitting in the barn. That was the first one in there. And then when we first started out, our very first bike was one of the guys who followed us from our old shop, 2015 CVO Electroglide.
Nice. So, did you have like an aha moment that, when you realized, hey, what we're doing is working? We're going to, obviously you are getting bigger out of the barn into a new spot, new location. So things have been working well.
They have. I can't say as we've had a big aha moment. It's just turn that volume off. It's just that as soon as we left, we did have a lot of people. We never poached anybody from our old shop. But we just did social media. That was the biggest thing. Is Facebook was the biggest influencer. So a lot of guys knew us from the old shop or knew me from the old shop. And I where I got my quote unquote professional start doing this, everybody knew who I was, but I kind of stuck towards the back. So, and when I went back to driving a gravel train during the day and did the bikes at night, and we kind of slowly built up our good, basically a loyal customer base. And I guess the biggest aha moment would have been this would be my third year not in a truck. So over the winter time, things got slow in this for the gravel industry, because obviously it's winter and we're not doing road construction. And I finally just said enough of it, and I gave it all up and went for broke. And no big aha moment, just we're surviving, we're paying bills, we're putting money in the savings account, and we're doing good.
That's good. So what do you think the biggest draw is to you guys over, say, a dealership? I know you guys have some kind of a mantra or a motto.
Built, not bought. That's kind of the premise we've with all of our bikes. Everything that we don't own anything stock, so everything we do, we have to do our own touches to it. But the biggest thing over a dealership, one, I don't have any age limitation within reason. Evos, so from 1984 to current model year, we will do pretty much anything and everything. Price point is another one, and I think the biggest one, it's when we get complimented on the most, is how honest we are. I don't, with our shop phone, it's a cell phone, and I tell everybody, I'll send you pictures, I'll send you text messages, but I'd rather them come up to the shop and I explain everything to them. I don't just throw a bill at them. I let them actually see what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, why we're going to do it. And I am also one of the few shops that will talk somebody out of spending money if I feel it's not needed. I just did it again yesterday. It's one of those things that honesty is our number one policy around here, and it's gotten us pretty dang far.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things that I found while I was looking up information on you guys and doing a little research, you guys don't push the upsell. You what you need is what you're going to get. If you don't need it, you're not gonna push it on them.
And that's the biggest thing. And a lot of guys do the upsell, and that's great. That's great for them. I just don't feel it's warranted, because that's how you get one big sale and they never come back. Or you give them exactly what they need, maybe a little bit extra. We always do something. We try to do something on every bike extra for every customer. That's just, I don't know. It's the way that I was trained, the way we still kind of roll with it. But we're not here to sell you every trinket under the sun just because we think it looks cool. If we base everything on functionality more than anything. If you're going for looks and style, yep, we have that line too. We have every major line out there that you can get. But we're more of, if this is what we can do to make you functional, this is how we're going to do it. And obviously the customer's always got the last word in it. If they want more, they get more, but we definitely try not to push it.
Right. So, what do you think most riders misunderstand about an independent mechanic or an independent shop over a dealership?
it's kind of a hard one.
Put you on the spot.
It's a very open-ended question.
Right.
There's so many different ways that it can be looked at.
A lot of people have gone to, they think independent shops are somebody that started in their backyard, and that's how they're still doing it because they might have gotten bit by somebody. But so sometimes it's a little harder. We lost customers because we were out of a garage in our backyard. And once they come in and see that we're not just
a backyard,
a backyard mechanic, that we're actually doing this, and we're doing this for a purpose, and we're actually taking the time to explain to people what they're getting, why they're getting it, or when they come in and say, "Oh, I want this," and I want the biggest, baddest motorcycle, but it's not what they need. They
right.
want to be able to ride it. We're going to tell you something different. Everybody's going to say, like, a dealership's going to be like, "Sure, we'll put you in anything you want and promise you the world." Probably not deliver as well as they can because they're under restrictions of what they're allowed to do. And we're not going to charge you dealership prices on a simple service that we can do. We're not going to charge you 5 hours on an oil change when it legitimately takes an hour and a half or less.
Right. Yeah. One of the other things I found while doing my research was the wait times. There was a story that I heard about a guy that went to the dealership and they said it was going to be days for them to get his bike fixed, where you guys had it fixed in hours.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Believe the customer's name was Eugene. It was his bike was brought to us on a tow truck because it was just last summer, as a matter of fact. I know it just kind of rang a bell. Yeah, the dealership told him they couldn't look at it for a couple days and that it was most likely a charging system. The bike was brought to me on a tow truck, got it down. 10 minutes of diag, found out it was a faulty battery, put a new battery in his bike, again, verified charging system at all points, and sent him on his way and saved he was 10 miles in to a week-long trip.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to save his trip for him. We weren't, because we were able to get him back on the road so quick that he didn't have to delay anything. And he was good to go, and he was crossing the border later that afternoon.
Awesome. So, what do you think is the most common repair you see on a Harley touring bike that rolls into your shop?
Tires.
Yeah.
Tires. I mean, as far as most common maintenance thing is tires, oil changes, stuff like that. I can't really say we have a common repair. A lot of guys, everybody likes to do bars. Everybody likes to do cams and stuff like that.
I need to do bars on my bike.
That's it's a great option. I usually tell everybody when they buy a new bike, suspension first, handlebars second, and third, if you're still a little uneasy, try a seat.
Right.
Then we'll get into the motor after that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that too. It seems like most guys that buy a new bike, they go right for stage 1 or stage 2, and they don't worry so much about the comfort. But I'm more at the point where I want to be comfortable. So I've been going that option on my bikes lately. So
suspension and handlebars are probably number one and number 2 in my book. We've done a lot of different suspensions. We've done a lot of different bar combinations, and what might be comfortable to one on a handlebar might not be comfortable to the next guy in.
So yeah, I did a thing. I had a 2014 Ultra Classic, and I had just got it set up where it was riding sweet. I could get on that thing and ride all day. Of course, Legends rear suspension, Saddleman seat, new bars, heated grips. I was golden. And then I decided to buy a new bike, and now I got to start all over pretty much. A lot of the stuff that I had could swap over. So like my seat swapped over, my suspension will swap over, but the bars, because I went from an Ultra to a Road Glide now.
Oh yeah, yep, different base on them.
Yeah,
Can't
so I got to do different, and I'm struggling with what I want to do. So, yeah, I can relate totally to the whole making them comfortable as opposed to making them fast.
Yep. And we like to do both. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
We love making them go fast, but comfort is always. We always try to steer everybody towards that one. Make it rideable first before we start making it.
I put on a lot of miles, so it's got to be comfortable.
Exactly. We're the same way. We don't put on nearly as many as we used to. Now that we're running the shop full time, we don't have the luxuries that we used to have back when we had quote unquote day jobs.
Right. Yeah.
But we get out as much as we can.
So what is the craziest repair you've ever had to fix?
It's sitting on my list currently right now.
Oh, really?
It is. Guy calls us last week. What was it? I think Wednesday.
It was Monday when it was super.
Oh yeah, it was Monday because he came when our shop was swamped with customers on one of the nicest days of the year we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Says he found a guy in Grand Rapids, had a motor rebuilt, spent $4,000 on a rebuild, and he needed it tuned. Well, we were gonna help him get set up with a tuner in the area and go from there. He brings his bike to us on a trailer, and I fire it up, let it run for about 15 seconds, and I'm pretty sure 2 quarts of oil fell out of the tailpipe.
Oh, wow.
So I shut it down, and upon further inspection, I pulled the motor down. It's still sitting here in the parts cleaner and on the bench. He just got completely railroaded by another, what I truly call a backyard hack, and spent $4,000 on an engine rebuild that is completely destroyed, and the only thing salvageable is the engine cases out of the entire engine. So that right now, it takes the top spot. Lifters were cut with a grinder and stuffed back in the motor. The cams, it had S&S 580 or 585 cams in it. Those were hit with the grinder to flatten the lobes.
What the heck?
Oh,
It's unbelievable.
Oh.
Bolts aren't even tight. Bolts are loose. You're barely touching them and they're coming right out.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's an absolute horrid disaster. They're all over our Facebook page. Throw the plug out there for that one.
Yeah.
It is a wild sight to be seen for anybody that knows anything about in the internal engine and how they're supposed to look on a Harley. It's definitely worth checking out because you can be just as baffled as we are.
So you have the pictures posted on your Facebook page?
I currently have all the pictures, most of the pictures anyways, posted on our Facebook page over the last couple of days.
Sweet.
Of us tearing this motor down. But that's by far
bolts in spots that don't even belong.
Yeah.
Or they're wrong bolts in different spots, holding cams together. And
the guy lost the bolts for the cam chain tensioner, so he pulled the bolts out of the cam plate because you don't need all 6 to hold the thing in place.
No.
And he put them in the tensioner spot instead.
Oh boy.
He couldn't find the intake bolts, so he used the gas tank bolts in the heads and there was many things he did to ruin the heads, but that was one of them. Is he actually cracked the exhaust ports on the heads, cracked the exhaust ports on the intake, or the intake ports rather, on the heads.
Putting the exhaust on, put the bolts,
Oh, yeah.
used the wrong bolts and cracked into the oil pan.
Drilled through the oil pan with some self-tapping bolts. So I took the exhaust off and the thing started pouring oil on me. And I didn't have an oil pan underneath the bike yet because I didn't plan on draining the oil at that particular second. So it made a hell of a mess.
And now what year bike was this that came in?
2010 Street Glide.
Oh.
So
a 96 V-twin?
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we are currently in the process. We ended up buying the bike from the customer. He elected at this point, when he realized how much it was going to cost to have it fixed or have it repaired properly, he elected to sell it. So we ended up buying it. It will be for sale shortly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we will. I've got a motor that's sitting on the shelf right now, super low mileage motor that I am going to end up replacing it with. And we're just going to try to make a little bit of our money back on it and, tried to help the customer out at the same time.
Right. Yeah. He got in over his
the
head
raw end
and
of the
yeah.
deal.
Nice. So here's a question that is burning in my head because I went from the 103 to the M8 now. What do you think of the M8 versus the old twin cam?
Well, personal opinion. So I still run all twin cams. I own currently 4 Harleys. All of my bikes are twin cams. I had a Sportster at one point, sold it. While I will work on M8s, I service a lot of M8s. I'm not ready to own one. I'm not a fan of them yet. If I were to buy one, it would be a one of the new Gen 2s. They seem to have the bugs worked out. They just have to work on the electrical system on them. They're still having some issues with the electrical system on these new bikes, but I'm not sold on them, to be 100% honest with you.
Well, gee, I don't have a warm fuzzy now.
So that's the other thing you asked us earlier. What do you think? What sets us apart from Harley is I'm brutally honest. I don't hold back, and if you ask me a question, I hope you're going to be ready for the answer because we don't sugarcoat.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I think that's what customers want. Yeah, I have some friends that have early M8s, and I've seen a little bit of the blow-by situation with the oil, and I've seen some of that stuff firsthand, and then I heard that they kind of got that solved very around 2020. If you wanted something after 2019, an M8, and then I got a scorching hot deal on a 24 Road Glide Limited, so I jumped ship. I was originally gonna put cams in my 103 and just liven that up a little bit more, but because it had around 60,000 miles on it. But like I said, it was a super hot deal and I couldn't say no.
Do you have the Gen 1 or the Gen 2?
It's a 24 114.
114, so Gen 1.
Yeah.
Because the Gen 2s are all 117s now,
yeah,
if I remember.
So
I could be wrong on that one. But
the girlfriend actually has a 24 Street Glide with the 117 in it.
Okay.
So, but she just experienced one of the electrical issues with them.
Yep. It seems to be in the hand controls and the the infotainment center, I think is what they're calling them. Yep.
So I still have the GTS infotainment.
Okay.
It's a 24, but it's actually like a 23.
Yes. Yeah. We have a customer. I'm doing a set of cams in right now with a 24, but it's the first gen 23 model.
Yeah,
basically.
it's still got the old shark nose because it's the limited. Yep. But yeah, she ran into the problem with the hand control. Bike wouldn't start. Of course, she still had warranty. Took it down to Hot Rod. They replaced the left hand control module. Went to fire the bike up, blew the right one out. So, yeah. So,
well,
yeah.
Thank goodness for warranties.
Right. All right. So, I'm sure you probably see all different kinds of riders come through your shop.
Oh, yes.
We definitely
hardcore to the weekend warriors to the wannabes and
everything in between.
And everything in between. Absolutely. Yep.
So what is you ride? So what is your favorite Michigan ride? What is your favorite destination?
Out of Michigan, my favorite ride would either be M22, so over on the west side,
over my way.
Yep. M22. We've ridden that one a few times. I mean, we live in the thumb, so
Right.
We've done the thumb ride. We do it actually quite often, and anymore it gets kind of boring for us.
Yeah. Kind of like M22 for me, but
I want to go.
we do that a couple times a year. Just it's a good road.
Exactly. But yeah, I could see if you do it all the time, it gets old. I want to get to the UP a little bit more. We haven't traveled much in the UP. Well, it's on the list, but unfortunately, we don't get a lot of chance to go up north. Usually, if we have a long weekend, we're headed down to go play in the mountains. So
Yeah.
we like the twisties and the turns down south, and we go down that way every chance we get.
So yeah. So I have ridden in the UP quite a bit. Not, I mean, a ton, but quite a bit. And I do like to ride up there. And then we went down to Tennessee this past summer, and the twisties and the turns and awesome riding down that way.
It is. We've gone to Tennessee multiple times. Hocking Hills quite a bit. That's usually
we actually went to Hocking Hills before we went down to Tennessee.
We're actually heading. We're taking a couple of our adopted children to Hocking Hills over Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, nice!
So, and we'll show them some of the, a couple of the cool major routes, triple nickel stuff like that. But
yeah.
We're going to teach them how to get lost and don't go on the main roads that everybody likes to ride bikes on. They're fun to do. But it's way more fun to go get lost in the middle of nowhere and just make random left and right turns.
Yeah.
and say the hell with the GPS.
Nice. Yeah. We went down, we had to do the Tail of the Dragon, just, but it's one of those roads that, it's so well known, it's almost not fun.
And that was the last time that we were down there. It was the anniversary of it. I think the last time that we were down there, we actually literally rode down to Tennessee just so my wife could get the t-shirt. We rode the Dragon, and it was a quick weekend trip, and we rode back home, but you almost get ran over down there by all of the locals that like to use it as the racetrack.
Yep.
And it's fun. It's something for everybody to experience. It's a great thing to do. I could probably go the rest of my riding career and never ride it again, and it wouldn't bug me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we rode it in and we rode it out, so I rode it twice. That's plenty for me. It was fun, but you can tell the people that ride it daily because they're zipping around you like they're not supposed to be. And
right.
I mean, it was fun, but I mean, the ride to get there was probably just as much fun. The roads are, I mean, just twisties and everywhere. Is great riding down there.
The very first time we rode it, we accidentally rode Moonshiner 28 all the way from Georgia, not knowing that's the route we were on.
Oh, wow.
And we just happened to be like, oh, look, we ended up at the Tail of the Dragon and went, oh, hey, let's go ahead.
Yeah, it like I said, I'm glad I did it. I checked it off my bucket list, but I don't need to do it again. There's a lot of stuff down there that I want to ride yet. So,
another good spot if you're ever in the area is West Virginia. Don't get lost on the back roads out there because nobody's on them. And they are just as cool, and they have way better sights.
One of the guys in my club
streams and stuff are pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the guys in the club's pushing for a West Virginia trip. So
I prefer West Virginia over Tennessee. I think it's better views.
Wow. All right.
Less populated, less crowded.
Yeah. All right. So back to maintenance. Since it snowed here last night, and be a little bit before I get the bike back out. What do you think is the most ignored maintenance item on a Harley?
Brake fluid, 100%.
Tires.
Clutch fluid and the hydraulic clutches too.
Yep, brake fluid, clutch fluid, tires are numbered.
I found out the clutch fluid the hard way, and I knew about it, but I ignored it. But
it'd be quite surprised at how many master cylinders that we open up that are got all kinds of floaties in them because it's, it draws moisture. The
Right.
dot 4 just draws an absurd amount of moisture to it. So it's ugly, and you get fade, or in the clutch systems, your clutch doesn't work. It starts to boil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Found that out in Tennessee.
Oh, that's the wrong spot to find it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting.
But yeah, that's the first one for me is brake, clutch fluid. Tires are a second one.
All right. What is a small problem that can turn into a big expensive repair if you ignore it?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to go right back to brakes. People don't pay attention until it's too late. There's not a lot of forgiveness on a Harley rotor. And I think even a lot of technicians tend to overlook the brake rotors on a bike. They're not cheap by any means, but if you continuously make sure you have good pads on, change your pads regularly, don't ride the brake, don't warp the hell out of your rotor. But brakes are probably the number one thing that it kind of falls right back into it, of the cheap. It's not bad to maintain them, but it can get real expensive if we got to start. Rotors are between $200 and $300 a piece.
Yeah.
Depending on what you go with. And we just had a customer, no joke, that just spent $2,500 on 3 rotors. They're Lindahl. They're fancy looking rotors.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. And then 3 sets of brake pads.
Yeah.
And so it can get real expensive real quick.
All right. So now I'm going to do something a little different. It's going to be a little bit of a rapid fire questions kind of thing, and I'll get your answers here. Carburetor or fuel injection?
Fuel injection.
Loud pipes, yes or no?
Yes.
If they sound good.
Best Harley motor ever made?
That's a trick question, because it depends on the style of bike.
I like that answer.
I love shovel heads, but I don't work on them much. I love the sound of an Evo. Don't work on them much, but it depends on the style of bike. So that's a trick question.
All right.
I can't answer that one.
All right. So then I'm going to throw this one at you. Evo, twin cam, or Milwaukee 8?
Twin cam.
All right. Baggers, Dynas, or Softails?
Bagger.
What are you currently riding? Out of your 4 bikes, what's your most popular or your favorite?
My daily is a 2006 Electra Glide.
Only because it's the only one running.
Well, that too. But my 2-up bike is a 2014 Ultra Limited. We also own a 2006 Dyna that we're in the process of rebuilding, and then a 2010 Street Glide.
Yeah.
Baggers are kind of the big one.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Are independent shops disappearing or growing?
I think they're disappearing because I think they're disappearing.
Yeah, I would agree. Although I know a few nice, good independent shops, but yeah, I think they are disappearing.
The good ones are disappearing. There's a lot of pop-ups that are coming that are parts changers.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference, without going into too much detail and getting too far off track. But there's a huge difference in a mechanic and a technician when it comes to an independent shop. There are way too many parts changers. There's not a lot of mechanics left. Being the mechanic, somebody that can truly diagnose the old school way is few and far between, and it gets harder every day with these newer bikes. I understand that, but it's a dying art. It's a dying form as far as independent shops go. A lot of guys are just they can't keep up with modern technology.
So, my dad was a troubleshooter for Amco transmissions back in the day, and that's one of the things that he always kind of thrived on saying was, there's a mechanic and then there's people that just change parts.
Yep.
They know that, well, if this goes wrong, this is what I got to replace, but they don't know why it went wrong. And that is the key. Being able to fix why it went wrong.
And that's the key to maintaining a great relationship with your customer, with everybody in general when it comes to maintenance on these bikes, is not knowing what broke. It's knowing why it broke, whether it's a wire, whether it is an internal engine part, a transmission part, a bearing. It's, yes, it broke, but let's figure out why. Let's figure out why it broke so it never happens again.
Right.
And that's, to me, that is what makes a true mechanic, is somebody that can say, we're not going to just change the part. We're going to fix what actually caused the break to begin with.
Being able to know why that failed, what makes it work. Right. All right. So, what advice would you give to someone that was wanting to become a motorcycle mechanic? Run. All right.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like with anything. Run unless this is truly your passion.
Right.
Because if you do not have a passion to ride, if you do not have a passion to be down and dirty, getting in there, this isn't for you. Being a shop owner and sitting at your computer and saying you own a shop and that you're a motorcycle mechanic, that doesn't cut it. You have to be able to get in there. And anybody new coming into the industry, don't expect to get rich, because I tell you what, I made a lot more money at my old career than I ever did at this one. Even though I'm a shop owner, it doesn't matter. It's not a lot of money. You're never going to get rich, but you have to have a passion and a drive.
Right.
And I don't think it's just for being a motorcycle mechanic. I think it's for any kind of mechanic, to be completely honest with you.
And having to put in the research, you have to know what you're selling your customer and why. Like we experiment on our bikes. We use all kinds of parts. If we're not going to put it on our bike, we're not going to sell it to you. If we don't believe in the part, we're not going to sell it.
Right. Yeah.
We are truly the guinea pig. I throw all kinds of weird oddball stuff on our bikes. And if it pans out good, cool, I'll sell it. If I don't like it, I won't sell it. And I won't even stock it. And I won't offer it. If a customer asks about it, I'll tell him, again,
you don't want that.
I'll tell them exactly what I feel about it and why I don't feel comfortable selling it.
So I've been doing, I started doing a gear review for Thunder Roads magazine. And so far it's just the stuff that I've purchased and tested, and I either approve it or I don't approve it. So far, most of the stuff has been good stuff, but I do my research before I buy stuff, typically.
Which is good. It saves you money in the long run.
Right, right. So yeah, I really can appreciate someone that's going to give me the positive and the negative. And if it's junk, they're going to say it's junk. So
that's us. And I know we've rubbed people the wrong way because of how we want to quote unquote sell somebody something or not sell them something. And, to each their own. We have an opinion for a reason. It's usually because of trial and error on our own stuff.
Yeah.
I, for instance, I can tell you on my 2014 twin cam, I'm pretty sure I'm on 5 sets of cams now.
Oh, wow.
I change them almost every year because I want to figure out on a bagger what handles the best or what gives the best power, mid-range, top end, bottom end, what we can offer for a customer. And I kind of get tired and bored with things, so I like to play around.
You like
anyway.
to tinker.
So, exactly. So, it's one of the biggest things that I could, explain to people is I would set you up with this cam because I know this is what I got with it. This is where it excelled. This is where, this is where some issues that came with it or where it needed some help on it and stuff like that. So yes, research is definitely one thing that we love to do, both reading and testing.
So on the cam subject, because I was actually looking at cams for my twin cam, and I had done some research, and I was actually looking at Woods cam. Have you had any experience with that?
So I have ran Bobby Woods cams quite a bit on his older grinds, none of the newer grinds.
Okay.
On the twin cams with the older grinds, he makes a very, very steep ramp on his cams on the old grinds. So it created a lot of top end ticking. So everybody knows the twin cam tick. It's pretty popular. I personally cannot stand it. It bugs the ever loving hell out of me, but that's what his cams were known for, to where the point where I ran his cam for a very short time, a 590 cam in my twin cam, and I had to get rid of them. I couldn't stand it. But on the exact same note, on my 2006 that I have an absurd amount of money and into the motor, that's what I'm running on it right now is a Woods TW8 590, because they perform very, very well for what I wanted to do with the bike. On the twin cams, on the M8s, the 22 series, they produce great numbers. They are not my favorite cam. They are quiet, but they are not my favorite cam for an M8. At least for the 114, 117 platform.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, I was doing my research, and I actually contacted him, and he called me. I mean, and I just thought that was freaking cool as hell. Here's a guy that freaking designs these cams. He's calling me. He goes, "What do you want?"
It is the reason that we do business with only a few select people when it comes to certain performance aspects. Being able to talk on the phone with Bob Woods.
Yep. Being
able to talk on the phone with Brandon and TR Reisner from TR Performance, T-Man Performance. Sorry. That's the same thing. George Bryce with Star Racing, being able to talk with him on the phone. That's why we promote certain products, is when you can actually talk to the builder and designer. It goes a lot further. Yeah,
I thought that was just cool. He called me up, and we talked, and he said he'd come on the podcast and do a podcast with me. So I haven't set that up yet, but it's definitely in the works.
That would be awesome. He is a man full of all kinds of knowledge, and he's probably forgotten more than most of us mechanics will ever know.
All right. So I think what's next for the Red Barn Cyclez crew?
What's next? Maintaining one spot for more than a year and a half.
All right.
Because we keep moving. We went from the garage, we outgrew that pretty quick, to the barn, and I think I outgrew the barn in
6 months, and it was hopefully 2 to 3 years, and it lasted a year.
So now we're in a building twice the size. I brought my wife in to run the front desk. So she ran the front desk at our old shop that we used to work at. She's now going to be the one answering the phone, setting the appointments. I'm going to go back to doing what I do best, and that's turning wrenches and answer questions when need be. But what's next is I want to just continue growing customer-wise, but I don't want to expand anymore. Not for a while. I need to stop moving so
growing
much.
pains, yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said about that too. Yep.
Yeah, but it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean it in any kind of negative way. It's a great thing that we keep outgrowing the buildings that we're in. But it gets really expensive.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Grand opening.
So yes. Oh, one thing I'd like to throw out there. We are having a grand opening party, May 30th from 1 to whenever the hell it ends. That I would like to invite you and anybody who listens to.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down right now.
We haven't made. We've kind of thrown the announcement out there on our Facebook page. We haven't gotten flyers or anything made up yet, so we're just trying to. It's spring and we're trying to get everything rolling.
Right.
And we're still in the paperwork phase of everything too. So, but yes, May 30th, we're going to have the grand opening party. We're going to have room for car parking. If it rains, we're going to have we have a parking lot directly across the street from our shop. And then my plan is nothing but motorcycles in our parking lot.
Nice.
We'll have the cars. And I did hear from the motorcycle lawyer. They are talking about coming up and setting a tent up for that event as well.
So would that be Michigan Biker Law?
Yes, Michigan Biker Law. Thank you.
All right. Now, I shouldn't mention them because I'm sponsored by Christensen Law, but I'm I do have a lot of friends there as well. So, and they do go to quite a few events.
Yeah, we got a message the other day through Facebook asking if they could set up a tent, and I said absolutely. So, sounds like they're going to be here. I obviously don't have 100% confirmation on it yet, but that was kind of the talk.
Yeah. All right. So, in closing, I'm going to throw this one at you. If a rider listening to this podcast is about to take a long trip tomorrow, what should they check on their bike tonight?
Tire pressure. Tire pressure or tire condition.
That is exactly the answer I was expecting. That is the one thing that I check for sure.
The one thing, I guess, goes back to the question you asked earlier is what do people tend to forget? Tire pressures.
Yep.
And you guys do a lot of tires there?
A lot of tires.
And do you have a favorite brand or?
I'm a Shinko guy. I love the 999s. I run them on both of my baggers. I'm going to be putting a set on the one that we're going to sell. If and when I ever get this Dyna up and running, it'll have 999s on it. And most of all of the performance bikes that we build, unless they're going to see track time, all the guys are running the 999s. They're holding up very well.
I put a set on my Ultra. And I loved them. But I ran a 777 on the back the season before. And I really liked that, but it just didn't wear very long,
Yeah, they make great traction. They just don't last.
Holy cow.
Thread.
Yeah.
Lighter bikes.
So 999s, Shinko 999s, those are our number ones. Those are our favorites. And that's the ones that we ran them on our bike for a full season before we actually started pushing them on, pushing customers towards them, because price comparison, it's up to $200 savings over a Dunlop. So, and for the same mileage. So
yeah.
I think it's a great bargain.
I was very pleased with how good it wore. One of the guys, he's still running it because he didn't trade his bike in like I did. But, but I bet you I had 12,000 miles on it and it still looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get over 12,000 because I keep hitting stuff in the road.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the reason that I've replaced the last 3 of my rear tires. Is I either got a nail in it or some kind of a puncture, or the last one that I did, I ended up hitting a piece of steel out on the highway, and I put a slice in the sidewall.
Well, at least everybody was safe on that. No wipeouts. So
no wipeouts. We stayed upright, so
that's good. That's good. All right, Lee, it was good talking to you. Red Barn Cyclez, grand opening, May 30th. Going to be a big shindig. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. And I'm going to try to get out there. Hopefully the weather will be nice and I can ride.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, that's
what we're hoping for.
May 30th. It should be decent riding weather anyways.
It should decent. Be. It's weekend after Memorial Day, so I think usually that, and everybody's got their bikes out by then too.
Right.
So we were trying to get it before all the big rides started happening for the season. So
right. All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for spending a little time with us today.
Thanks, Eric. We appreciate it.
And we'll be talking some more. I got to get stuff printed out for you, but yeah.
Perfect. Sounds
all right.
Great.
All right, man.
Alrighty.
It was good talking to you.
You too.
Take care.
You too.
All right, there you go, bikers. Red Barn Cyclez. Be sure to check them out on Facebook. And, they can do it all. So definitely, if you need something repaired, tires, oil change, whatever, go see Lee. Thanks for listening to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast. Remember, bikers, life is short. Get after it.